The evolution and significance of ancient Greek art. Ancient Greek art is a significant and influential chapter in the history of world art, spanning over 1,000 years, from the early Bronze Age to the Hellenistic period. This artistic tradition is marked by a succession of stages, each characterized by unique styles, techniques, and thematic concerns. In this detailed description, we will explore the different stages of ancient Greek art and highlight the most important works of art from each stage. 1. Minoan art, circa 3450 BCE. The earliest stage of ancient Greek art is the Minoan civilization, originating from the island of Crete. Minoan art is renowned for its vibrant frescoes, pottery, and metalwork. A prime example of Minoan art is the Toreador fresco from Knossos, which showcases the culture's appreciation for athleticism and nature. Specific characteristics of Minoan art themes. Nature. Depictions of flora and fauna were extremely common. Think dolphins, fish, birds, flowers, especially lilies and crocuses, and marine life. These were often rendered with a sense of liveliness and naturalism, rather than strict geometric forms. Religious rituals. Scenes of religious ceremonies are frequently depicted, often involving bulls. The Toreador fresco isn't just about athleticism. It likely held religious significance. Daily life. Images of dances, processions, and even everyday activities provide a glimpse into Minoan society. Myth and symbolism. The double-axe labrys and bull horns were important symbols, likely representing power and masculinity. The snake goddess, often depicted in figurines, is thought to have been a deity associated with fertility and protection. Techniques. Fresco. The dominant technique for wall paintings. Minoan frescoes were typically buon fresco, painted on wet plaster, allowing the pigments to bond chemically with the wall, ensuring durability. They also used fresco secco, painting on dry plaster, for finer details. Pottery. Minoan pottery evolved through different phases, characterized by distinctive styles. Kamara's ware. Early Minoan pottery, known for thin walls, dark backgrounds, and vibrant polychrome decorations. Red, white, yellow, orange. Designs often included abstract motifs like spirals, curves, and floral patterns. Marine style. Later Minoan pottery, featuring marine life and underwater scenes, reflecting the importance of the sea. Colors were often lighter and more naturalistic. Metalwork. Highly skilled metalworkers crafted objects in gold, silver, bronze, and copper. They used techniques like repoussé, hammering from the back to create relief, engraving, and granulation. Sculpture. Sculptures were often small-scale, including figurines of goddesses, animals, and humans. Materials included ivory, bronze, and faience, a type of glazed ceramic. Colors. Vibrant palette. Minoan art is noted for its bright and cheerful colors. Key colors. Red, yellow, blue, black, and white were commonly used. Red ochre was readily available on Crete. Color conventions. There were conventions in the use of color, such as painting male skin reddish-brown and female skin white. Style. Fluidity and grace. Figures are often depicted in motion, with flowing lines and elegant poses. Emphasis on line. Outlines are clearly defined, giving the figures a sense of clarity and definition. Lack of perspective. Minoan art typically lacks the sophisticated perspective that would later be developed in classical Greek art. Figures and objects are often arranged in registers or ground lines. Composite perspective. Some objects are often showed from the sides, while others showed from above. Famous examples of Minoan art, besides the Toreador fresco. Snake goddess. Figurines. Iconic figurines, usually made of faience, depicting a woman holding snakes. They are interpreted as representing a goddess or priestess, and are associated with fertility and protection. Prince with the Lilies. Fresco. A fragment of a fresco from Knossos depicting a figure wearing a crown of lilies. Believed to be a priest, king, or a deity. Harvester vase. A Rhiton ceremonial vessel, depicting a lively procession of harvesters, demonstrating a mastery of relief carving. Bull. Leaping. Seal stones. Engraved seals made of stone or ivory that depict bull-leaping scenes, showcasing the importance of this activity in Minoan culture. Sarcophagus of Hagia Triada. A painted limestone coffin depicting scenes of religious rituals, including offerings to the dead. 2. Mycenaean art. Circa 1600-1100 BCE. Mycenaean art emerged in mainland Greece, characterized by its geometric and abstract styles. The Mask of Agamemnon, a gold death mask discovered in Mycenae, exemplifies the craftsmanship and artistic prowess of this period. Specific characteristics of Mycenaean art. Geometric and abstract styles are prominent, with a focus on simple shapes and lines. The art often depicts scenes from mythology, daily life, and warfare. Mycenaean artists were skilled in metalworking, particularly in gold, bronze, and silver. They also worked with ivory, faience, and terracotta. Frescoes, pottery, and sculpture were the most common forms of artistic expression. The colors used in Mycenaean art were typically limited to black, white, and red, with occasional use of blue and green. Famous examples of Mycenaean art besides the Toreador fresco. The Mask of Agamemnon, a gold death mask discovered in Mycenae, believed to have been made around 1500 BCE. The Dendra panoply, a set of bronze armor discovered in a grave at Dendra, dating to around 1450 BCE. The Lion Gate, a monumental entrance to the citadel of Mycenae, featuring a relief of 2 lions. The Mycenaean cups, a collection of silver and gold cups decorated with intricate geometric patterns. 3. Dark Ages, circa 1100-800 BCE. Following the collapse of the Mycenaean civilization, Greece entered a period of decline known as the Dark Ages. Despite the scarcity of artistic output during this time, it saw the development of the Greek alphabet and the introduction of ironworking. Specific characteristics of Dark Ages, e.g., common themes, techniques, colors. Scarcity of material culture. The most striking characteristic is the relative lack of archaeological finds compared to the Mycenaean and later Archaic periods. This doesn't mean no art was produced, but rather that less survives, and what does survive is often simpler. Geometric art. The dominant artistic style that does emerge is geometric. This style is characterized by abstract designs, focus on geometric shapes, circles, triangles, squares, zigzags, meanders, key patterns, repetitive patterns. Decoration often consists of repeated geometric motifs. Pottery as a primary medium. Pottery is the most common surviving art form. Vases, craters, mixing bowls, and other ceramic vessels are decorated with geometric patterns. Limited figurative representation. Human and animal figures are rare at first, and, when they appear, are highly stylized and geometric. They are often integrated into the overall geometric scheme. Later in the period, narrative scenes become more common but still retain the geometric style. Dark on light color scheme. Decoration is typically executed in dark paint, usually a clay slip that fires black, on a lighter clay background. Simplification of craftsmanship. Compared to Mycenaean craftsmanship, there is a general simplification in techniques and materials. Luxury goods become less common. Absence of monumental architecture and sculpture. The grand architectural projects and large-scale sculpture of the Mycenaean period are absent. Building techniques were less advanced. Famous examples of Dark Ages art, besides the Toreador fresco, which is from the Minoan civilization, thus, before the Dark Ages. Diplon amphora, a massive Athenian funerary vase, circa 760-750 BCE, from the late geometric period. It's decorated with complex geometric patterns and depicts a prothesis, laying out of the dead, and a funeral procession. It is a prime example of the narrative potential within the geometric style. Mantiklos Apollo statuette, a small bronze statuette of a standing male figure, circa 700-680 BCE, dedicated to Apollo. While still somewhat stylized, it represents a shift towards more naturalistic representation and a precursor to archaic sculpture. It has an inscription on its thighs, Hirun at Lefkandi, While not strictly art in the traditional sense, the Hirun, a large building, possibly a hero's tomb, at Lefkandi on the island of Euboea, is significant. It contained rich burial offerings, including pottery and bronze objects, providing insight into the material culture and burial practices of the time. Geometric pottery from various sites, representing a wide range of shapes and decorative patterns. Geometric art. Circa 900-700 BCE, the geometric period marked a resurgence of artistic activity, characterized by geometric shapes and patterns. This period is characterized by its abstract and highly stylized forms. Forget naturalism. Think rigid order and symbolic representation. The primary source of artistic expression during this period was pottery. Large vases, particular funeral craters, and amphorae were decorated with intricate geometric patterns, meanders, zigzags, and chevrons. Consider the Diplon amphora, now housed in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. The Diplon amphora, a large funerary vase, is an iconic work of this stage, reflecting the culture's focus on death and the afterlife. It is almost 5 feet tall and served as a grave marker. Notice the stylized figures of mourners depicted in the friezes. They are not realistic. They are schematic representations of human forms, reduced to essential shapes. The focus is not on individual motion, but on the collective ritual of mourning. This period laid the foundation for later developments, establishing a vocabulary of form and pattern that would influence subsequent artistic styles. 5. Archaic art. Circa 700-480 BCE. Archaic art is distinguished by its naturalism, monumentality, and the introduction of the kouros and kore statues. The kouros of Aristotokos and the peplos kore are notable examples of this period, demonstrating the Greeks' interest in proportion and anatomical accuracy. This is when we see the first glimmers of the Greek artistic genius. The Archaic period witnessed increasing contact with the Near East and Egypt, resulting in a fascinating fusion of indigenous traditions and foreign influences. Sculpture, in particular, began to evolve from rigid, block-like forms to more dynamic and naturalistic depictions. The kouroi and korai, the iconic standing nude male, kouros, and draped female, kore, statues. These were votive offerings, dedicated to the gods. Think of the kouros of Anavisos, conjuring an image of the majestic marble figure. He stands rigidly upright, with one foot slightly forward, but there is a nascent sense of anatomy, a hint of muscularity beneath the stylized surface. And the archaic smile, that enigmatic expression that seems fixed on their faces, gives them a unique and captivating charm. The kore of Auxerre, found in a sanctuary of Artemis, and the peplos kore from the Acropolis are essential examples of clothed female statues. The folds of their garments are meticulously carved, creating a sense of texture and depth. The peplos kore, originally painted in vibrant colors, would have been a breathtaking sight. The black figure techniqued, initially. Imagine a vase covered in a glossy black slip, and then painstakingly etching away the slip to reveal the red clay beneath, creating intricate scenes. The Francois vase, signed by the potter Agotimos and the painter Clytius. This is a masterpiece of the black figure style. It's a complex narrative with hundreds of figures depicting scenes from Greek mythology, including the Caledonian boar hunt and the wedding of Peleus and Thetis. The meticulous detail and the storytelling prowess are simply astounding. Later in the Archaic period, the red figure technique emerged, a revolutionary innovation where the figures were painted in red against a black background, allowing for greater detail and naturalism. Think of the works of Euphronios, considered one of the masters of this style. 6. Classical art, circa 480–323 BCE. Classical art is considered the pinnacle of ancient Greek artistic achievement, characterized by idealized realism and harmony. The Parthenon marbles, Discobolus by Myron, and the statue of Zeus at Olympia by Phidias are all quintessential works of this era. This period marked a radical shift towards naturalism and idealism. Greek artists sought to depict the human form in its most perfect and harmonious state. It was an era of unparalleled artistic innovation and sophistication. The Dorophoros, Spear-Bearer, by Polycletosis, perhaps the quintessential example of classical sculpture. It embodies Polykleitos' canon, a set of mathematical proportions intended to define the ideal human form. Though known only through Roman copies, it reveals a deep understanding of anatomy and balance. The Discobolos, Discus Thrower, by Myron captures a moment of dynamic tension, the athlete poised in mid-throw. Although the face is somewhat idealized, the depiction of the body in motion is remarkably realistic. The Parthenon, the Acropolis in Athens, built under the supervision of Phidias, is the ultimate expression of classical architecture and sculpture. The temple itself is a masterpiece of architectural design, with its Doric columns and perfectly balanced proportions. But it is the sculptural decoration, including the Parthenon frieze, the pediments, and theme topes, that truly elevates it to the realm of the sublime. These sculptures depict scenes from Greek mythology and Athenian history, showcasing the power and glory of Athens. The frieze, believed to represent the Panathenaic procession, is particularly remarkable for its naturalistic rendering of human figures and animals in motion. Phidias is also credited with sculpting the colossal statue of Athena Parthenos, which stood inside the Parthenon. During the High Classical period, we see a move towards greater emotional expression. Praxiteles, for example, created statues that were more sensual and refined than their predecessors. His Hermes and the infant Dionysus, a beautiful example of this new style. It depicts the god Hermes holding the infant Dionysus, with a gentle and almost melancholic expression on his face. Set. Hellenistic art, circa 320–340 BCE. The Hellenistic period was marked by a shift towards emotional realism and genre scenes. Masterpieces, such as The Laundress by Polykleitos, The Venus de Milo, and The Dying Gaul, exemplify the period's focus on individual expression and dramatic storytelling. Ancient Greek art has had an enduring impact on the development of Western art, influencing the concepts of proportion, perspective, and narrative. The stages of ancient Greek art not only trace the evolution of artistic styles and techniques, but also provide valuable insights into the cultural, historical, and social context of the time. This period is characterized by its dramatic and emotional intensity. Hellenistic artists explored a wider range of subjects and emotions than their classical predecessors. There was a greater emphasis on realism and individualism, and a willingness to depict the human form in all its complexities, including its imperfections. The Laocoon group, a dramatic sculpture depicting the Trojan priest Laocoon and his sons being attacked by sea serpents. This is a quintessential example of Hellenistic sculpture. It is filled with pathos and suffering. The figures are contorted in agony, their faces etched with pain. The sculpture is a tour de force of technical skill and emotional expression. And consider the winged victory of Samothrace, perched dramatically on a ship's prow. The statue is a celebration of naval victory. The goddess Nike, with her wind-swept drapery and powerful wings, is a symbol of triumph and glory. The Venus de Milo, a statue that, despite its missing arms, continues to captivate viewers with its graceful curves and enigmatic beauty. Throughout the Hellenistic period, the art of portraiture flourished. Sculptors sought to capture the individual features and personalities of their subjects. Portraits of Alexander the Great, for example, became iconic images of leadership and power. The decline of Greek art emerged under Roman rule. While it lost its independent identity, it continued to exert a profound influence on Roman art and culture. Roman sculptors, for example, often copied Greek statues, ensuring their preservation for posterity.